Yes, welcome back. And surprise, surprise, it's not another week, it's the same week. This week's Daily Race A. There is two cars. If you found the GT3 a little bit too easy to drive, it's time to step up your game into the Carrera. Probably worth a good half a second, maybe even a second faster if you can tame the beast. Yeah, so brake balance rear 4, that's what I've been running. I have juggled between 3, 5 was terrible, 2 was terrible, but I switched between 3 and 4. I believe this lap is on rear 4. This car is very tricky, it likes you to pick up the throttle pretty much on the apex, not wide open because that'll just spin out, but open the throttle, settle the car, and then wide open throttle and get the hell out of there. So shortly we'll be jumping on board down to T1. I noticed that I take an alternative line here so you can play around with your turn 1 lines. But this is the one that I don't mind. So straight over the crest, making a straight line for the number 1 board and braking just at the little dark patch next to the 4 board. Keeping a straight line all the way to that 1 board at the end there. And we'll start trail braking, turning in, sort of sometimes missing this first apex, but really trying to get the car squared up for this second one and on the throttle nice and early. Back across to the left hand side of the road now, long trail braking down to the apex, open the throttle as soon as possible, back on the juice, try and keep the car out of the sand, run that curb, same thing, nice light trail braking, keeping the nose down, crack the throttle on the apex and wide open as soon as you realise you're not going to go and play in the sand. Braking under the mother's board once again. So a bit before the 3 board there. This is going to be a long threshold section. Trail brake your way down to the apex and try and get the throttle open early. You can get it open even earlier than I did there. And that really settles the car, and then wide open throttle shortly thereafter. Bit of a lift, light foot on the brake, help the nose down for this left-hander. Pick up the throttle before the apex and wide open as soon as you get to the apex. And that should push your way up the hill. Braking right next to the 4 board, trying to go that ripple strip straight under the center of the car should leave you a nice straight line. Short little trail braking section, crack the throttle nice and early, wide open as soon as the car is pointing to the second apex. Pick up 3rd on your way down. I did try that in 3rd and 2nd. Going over there in 3rd unsettles the car, so the change on the way down. Now, no braking, we did manage to get through here without touching the brakes this time. Just nice balance on the throttle is the key to getting through there as quick as possible. Using all the curb on the exit. Now we'll switch back to the left-hand side of the road, try to open up this one. This is going to be a sharp punch on the brakes, back into some nice light trail braking to keep the nose down. Once again, trying to keep it out of the sand. Switch back now to the right hand side of the road, braking just before the 3, so after the ripple strip starts, but before we get to the 3 board. Once again, aiming at the 1 side, really trying to open this U-turn. Going to be one of those slow and fast out jobs. Sort of a little bit of a late apex that allows you to get on the throttle earlier and less sideways action. Just using the white line to the line there, not necessarily sure how much faster that is. As we jump on board in chase view now with our little tablets, to give you an idea of what we're doing. See, there is just a little bit of room left on these curbs, but we are trying to turn in from every curb and apexing on top of every inside curb. Nice gentle inputs. Once you start getting violent steering inputs and throttle and brake inputs, this car is really going to try and buck you off. So the smoother you can be, the lap time. You can really get into the throttle early on that last one. Up the hill now. You know you've really got that last corner right if you have to change up into 5th going up that hill. Jab of wide open, trying not to do any drastic steering inputs, try not to touch the brake here, just try and slow the car down with the throttle, guide the car past the apex, just a little jab at the brakes, wipe some speed off. They're a nice easy trail braking section to keep the nose down. And a really good exit out of this last hairpin will make your lap. I reckon there's 3 or 4 tenths just on the exit of that last hairpin. So we did manage to get to that last hairpin quite a fair bit better, maybe 2 or 3 tenths better than this lap, but we never managed to finish it. So we've added the in-car view back at full speed, just so you can get a good idea of the steering inputs. Keep your eyes peeled on those brake and throttle inputs as well. You'll see that the throttle opens really quickly and then slowly climbs back to wide open throttle. Sort of the same deal with the brake too. We're really trying to remove that off the brake really slowly. Fast slowly as always. Turning in from the curb there, really trying to maximise that radius. We did have a little bit of road left on the outside, so you can push a little bit harder through there if you need to. Next to the 4 sign, or where the road starts getting dark, should have your foot off the brake by the time you get to that apex and start to pick up the throttle. Balancing the throttle, I found that the best way to get through here anyway. A little punch on the brake, keep the nose down. You can actually carry quite a fair bit more speed through that last corner. It is quite deceptive if you get the line right. And back across the line. Pretty sure we'll jump into bumper cam there. So this is where we'll say thanks for watching. Give us the old like or subscribe if we manage to help you improve your lap. You may have heard that I was on Hugh Hattrick's podcast recently. I'll try and remember to put a link in the description, and if you enjoy that podcast, I also have my own podcast with Fat Furby called Simcators. I'll chuck that in the description as well. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Peace.